Good morning, Singapore. Rasathi here in my house, chilling in the morning. I've been up since about, I don't know, 4:45, something like that. Been up and kind of in and out of sleep, thinking, reading, processing. Um, Something that has been popping up in a lot of my conversations as I teach these classes, as I interact with my audience, as I talk to people, um, is the fact that we need to manage our expectations better. Right? We need to be able to ask the questions that we're afraid to ask. Why? Because ultimately, what we don't want to do is fill in the blanks on our own. Now, really, really, really good storytellers, right? We're really good at being able to tell people what happened, recap a story, tell people, where they're coming from, what to expect, all these things. And it's great. It's the way we've been teaching people for years. We've been passing on stories. We've been handing down knowledge in the form of stories, right? It's where Christianity's Bible stories come from. It's where Amar Chitrakarta is based, which is all of our legends. So storytelling is just what we do naturally. But in day-to-day life, the last thing you want to be doing is filling in the blanks and making up the story as you go along instead of actually getting the facts. We are so afraid of rejection. We are so afraid of getting the real answer that what we tend to do is not ask the question at all and then we fill in the blank. Case in point, right? I remember baby girl was with me and she wanted to go shopping for something, and that's cool. I mean, kids want to buy stuff. It's perfectly normal. But when I said no and I didn't give any more information, she assumed it's because she was being bad. She assumed that she had done something that merited the fact that she didn't deserve to get what she was asking for. Now that wasn't the case, but I wasn't in the frame of mind to be able to explain to her, and I had other things going on. I was trying to deal with some other things on the phone at the same time. So she kept pestering me, "Hey, why? I want to do this." And I like, "You never," and then she started whining, right? "You never let me do this. You always say no to me." All the blanket statements came in. And eventually I got irritated and I stopped her and I said, "Look, why are you telling me that I never do these things? Give you what you want." And she finally said, "Well, I asked you, I've been asking you all day. I want to go do henna and you keep saying no." I finally broke it down for her and I told her, "Look, I said no, that's correct. I did not give you an explanation, and perhaps that was wrong at the time, but I did not have the time to sit down and explain it to you. I was hoping you would take it at face value so we could go on our day." She had decided in her mind it was because she did something wrong. What she didn't know was, what is the point of doing henna today if it only lasts for about 2 weeks, when in 2 weeks we actually have to do henna once and for all for a wedding we're attending? I did not venture the extra information, and she did not ask me why. She continually asked me for what she wanted, but she did not stop to ask me why. And so she assumed the worst in her mind, and she completed the story for me. Same thing goes for, relationships. People do it all the time. Maybe you've been talking around the fact that you want to become a couple. Maybe you've been seeing each other regularly, you talk to each other all day long, and you've been talking around the idea of becoming a couple. And somewhere along the way, you had one disagreement about something. Maybe, unfortunately, a lot of arguments start around sex, right? So maybe it was about sex, and you didn't want to answer the question, so you said no, and the other party got offended, and suddenly it was because they didn't perform well enough, or because they haven't said yes to sex yet, that there is a big problem. Maybe in your mind you're not ready, but you didn't venture that information, so they decided to continue and complete the story for themselves. Do you see how filling in the blanks can become a problem? But it happens all the time. Why are we so afraid of asking the question why? Is it because we're really afraid of the answer? And if we're really afraid of the answer, why do we complete the story with the worst case scenario anyway? It's something to consider because we do it, all of us, me included, we all do it all the time. I've always been taught, never ask a question you don't already know the answer to, which is dumb because then why would you ask a question? Now, if you want to confirm something you're suspicious of, that's different. But why not ask the question? The only stupid question is the one that didn't get asked. If you have a problem, if you have a sandegam, if you have like a doubt about something, ask. It is the safest way to make sure you don't fill in the blanks and you give the other person a chance to explain themselves. So please, as you go into the holidays, I know it's the end of the year, a lot of things are coming to an end, a lot of things are getting ready to begin, new chapters starting all the time, lots of festivities, wedding season some more. There are lots of opportunities to have misunderstandings, but the one thing I do want to encourage you to do is ask why. Dig a little deeper. Ask for more details so you know exactly what's going on in the other person's head. You never know. Most times reality is not quite as far-fetched as your imagination. Most times, because we're trained to think about the worst case scenario, it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be. Maybe the answer is quite simple. They're not ready yet, which in that case, the next question, sensible question would be, okay, what about this are you not ready for? What about this are you afraid of? How can I help you? And then we have a really constructive constructive conversation. Ask the question, don't fill in the blank. Because you don't know what the other person's going through. You don't know how many other things they're juggling at the same time as you. So why not give them a chance to explain themselves so you can come together on a mutually respectful decision rather than fill in the blanks, assume the worst, and then make a decision for them, which is what you're essentially doing. Does that make sense? Anyway, thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, comments, anything, please drop them in the comments below, and I will catch up with you again soon. Y'all take care.